Everyone thinks they know the origin of AUG hot rod. They look at the glossy red paint and think it's just another expensive legacy play skin. But almost everything the community believes about this weapon is a lie. Some trading platforms and wikis have been feeding you incorrect history for over a decade. The legendary trade-up exploit that built this gun's reputation is now secretly programmed to sabotage your inventory. And most importantly, the hidden code update designed to kill this exact weapon's legendary exploit is the very same math that backfired, spawning impossible zero-float vanilla knives that entirely broke the high-tier collector economy overnight. Today we are digging into the code of Counter-Strike 2 engine to expose the float unrolling trap, the 5% Glock-18 Fade gamble, and how this single grey and red rifle forced Valve to abandon their original gritty vision of the game. Let's get into it. If you go to some of the trading sites right now and look up AUG hot rod, you will read the exact same official description. Introduced on July 1st, 2014 as part of the historic bank collection during the Operation Breakout update. There is only one problem with that statement. It is completely wrong. We are looking at the massive community Mandela Effect. Archival game coordinator records and deep patch history prove beyond the shadow of doubt that AUG hot rod debuted alongside the original 10 weapon collections in August 2013. Strictly as part of the Assault collection. This misinformation is so pervasive that it has become accepted as a fact by thousands of traders. To be fair, I went through many of the sites and most prestigious sites have corrected this information, but it used to be more widespread. Why does this matter? Because the Assault collection represents the exact moment Valve lost control of their artistic vision of Counter-Strike. Back in 2013, developers wrongly believed the hardcore player base wanted gritty, realistic camouflage. The Assault collection skins like the UMP-45 Caramel and SG-55 Free Tornado were designed with muddy, utilitarian color palettes to match the industrial warehouse setting of the map, but then Valve slipped in the hot rod. The design was heavily inspired by mid-century American automotive culture. They even attached a hidden piece of developer flavor text to the weapon. Automatic, systematic, hydromatic. A direct lyric from the song Greased Lightning from the 1978 musical film Grease. The immediate market hysteria surrounding this glossy, vibrant skin, along with the Glock-18 Fade, proved that the players didn't want realistic camouflage. They wanted flashy neon status symbols. The hot rod accidentally created the vibrant multi-billion-dollar casino aesthetic we know today. I am torn myself. I mostly like laid-back skins, to be honest, but I don't mind some flashier skins in my loadout, especially if I had AUG hot rod in my inventory. Historically, the AUG hot rod traded as low-tier cosmetic for around $450, but because it belongs to the Assault collection, it is one of the only pathways to legendary Glock-18 Fade. For years, the hot rod was the ultimate budget filler for high-tier traders. It has an extremely restricted float cap. It can only exist between a float of 0 and 0.08. In the old days of CSGO, you could throw a pristine 0.01 float hot rod into a contract and it would artificially track down average float, securing incredibly low float outcomes for cheap. But in October 2025, during the infamous Retex update, Valve quietly introduced a hidden mechanic called float unrolling, or normalization, and it turned the hot rod from a cheat code into absolute mathematical suicide. Valve rewrote the backend code so the game now maps every skin onto a universal 0-to-1 scale based on its specific caps. The internal formula the game uses for the hot rod looks like this shown on the screen. What does this mean for your wallet? If you take pristine factory new hot rod with a clean actual float of 0.01, the game divides it by its 0.08 maximum cap. The system calculates your beautiful 0.01 input as terrible 0.125 float. Because of this unrolling mechanism, using a low cap skin like the AUG hot rod as a budget filler is mathematically self-sabotaging. It secretly penalizes your contract and will push your target output straight into minimal wear or field-tested trash. You are literally paying a premium to ruin your own trade-up. I don't mind the harder math. There are many available calculators that do the math for you, and I don't think we should be able to craft endless supply of factory new skins from old collections. But the introduction of this new float math didn't just ruin filler contracts. It caused one of the most catastrophic coding oversights in the history of Counter-Strike economy. When developers rewrote the trade-up calculations to enforce this new float unrolling, they forgot about the highly specific asset class, vanilla knives. These knives do not have external wear rates. A factory new vanilla looks exactly the same as battle-scarred one. However, deep in the game's code they do technically carry a hidden float value. but they have absolutely no defined float caps. When the new October 2025 formula tried to process outputs that lacked defined caps, the system completely bugged out. Instead of dividing, the formula calculates the final float by multiplying against the weapon's float range. Because vanilla knives had no defined range, the system defaulted to multiplying by 0. This error temporarily flooded the active economy with impossible 0.00000 float vanilla knives. But for a brief period, the market was in absolute chaos. The technical anomaly momentarily devalued ultra-rare, low-float collector knives to pennies. Database ranking on tracking sites were completely destroyed overnight as these coast knives populated the #1 float spots globally. Valve had to scramble to patch the system, but for a few days the engine coast of the zero-float vanilla knife was the most terrifying thing in a high-tier trading scene. So if using the hot rod as a filler is a mathematical suicide, how is it actually used today? It is exclusively utilized as a high-tier main ingredient. The global supply of the hot rod is in a state of permanent contraction. The assault collection is retired and was never added to souvenir packages. Modern gamblers use a very specific recipe: 1 AUG hot rod mixed with 9 cheap chunk filler skins. This guarantees a flat 10% chance to hit the restricted tier of the assault collection. If it hits, the game flips a coin. You have 5% net probability of successfully crafting a legendary Glock-18 Fade and 5% chance to hit the MP9 bulldozer. It is incredibly risky high-stakes gamble that cemented the skin's legacy. But for many, the hot rod isn't meant to be destroyed in a contract. In professional Counter-Strike history, it emerged as a status symbol of competitive longevity, famously wielded by legendary players like NBK and Oscar. With the launch of Counter-Strike 2, the Source 2 engine brought physically based rendering, or PBR. This transformed the flat anodized red paint of CSGO into deep mirror-like candid finish. Because of this, it is widely regarded as the ultimate canvas for prestigious sticker crafting. Collectors absolutely revere this weapon for Katowice 2014 LGB and iBuy Power holocrafts. The deep reflective red on the anodized weapon body perfectly matches the distinct holographic red shimmer of the Katowice logos, creating a seamlessly integrated masterpiece. Today, modern factory new variants consistently fetch between $400 and $600, with those Katowice crafts pushing into the tens of thousands. To me, there are 3 AUG skins that are way above others: Hot Rod, Flame Jormungandr and Wings, and these are not in a specific order. The AUG Hot Rod is more than just a red rifle. It is the skin that forced Valve to realize we didn't want a realistic camouflage, piece of the most misunderstood float math in the entire game, and the engine update designed to kill its legendary exploit is forever tied to the vanilla knife crisis of 2025. It is the perfect example of why you can't just trust a wiki or trading site description. To truly understand the Counter-Strike economy, you have to dig into the code, track the patch notes, and do the virtual archaeology yourself. What do you think? Did you know the truth about the assault collection, or did the historic bank Mandela Effect fool you too? Have you ever tried the 5% Glock Fade gamble? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoy digging through the hidden lore and mathematics of Counter-Strike universe, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go check my inventory to make sure I don't have any impossible zero float vanilla knives hiding in there. See you in the next one. Bye.